Hey everyone, I finished watching the next Wild Force episode, Three's a Crowd. Uh, this one's okay. I like this one. It's a Danny focus episode, and after watching this many Wild Force episodes, I think it's safe to say I think Danny's probably my favorite of the characters. He's got just such a unique personality to him. He's such a likable guy. I really like just everything about him. He's a really nice guy. The other Rangers are cool too. There's things about all the Wild Force Rangers I really like. There's no Rangers that I really dislike in this season. So anyway, plot of this one. The latest org is kidnapping brides, and Danny is particularly perturbed by this because he can't imagine a monster who would do something as despicable as ruin a wedding, someone's like best day. That's a cute little rant he goes on against the about what the org is doing at the beginning. It's really funny. So then they go to stop the org, and the org is this purple wedding dress themed monster. Yeah, it's unique. It certainly stands out among other monsters. It definitely doesn't look like too many other ones. Let's see. So it kidnaps a bride, and we see it carry her into this room, and it turns her into a mannequin, and hides her with these other mannequins, which are presumably other kidnapped brides. Well, that's creepy. Oh, and also interesting, I just bought a DVD of the movie Maniac, which also has to do with mannequins and a serial killer. Huh. I don't know. I just thought that was a weird parallel. I wasn't thinking about this upcoming episode when I bought that DVD. Anyway, back to the plot. See, the Rangers lose the org, and Danny. Let's see. Oh yeah, he gets distracted when he sees Kendall, his crush from. See, it was earlier in the series. I think they introduced her. She's this girl that works at the flower shop, and he's just crazy for her, but he doesn't really know how to explain how to tell her. And so here he sees she's working like setting up for the upcoming wedding or whatever, and so he's thinking about her. The Rangers are up on the Animarium, and he makes an excuse to the Rangers to go see her again, which is kind of only a half excuse because it does actually make sense. He says, "Oh, I gotta go warn her not to go to the church because she might get kidnapped." Yeah, makes sense. So anyway, he goes to talk to her, and on his way, this other guy wants to go see Kendall, and they both end up helping her setting up some wedding reception. And then the org appears, trying to kidnap another bride. Danny's able to fight off the org and the putrids, but then let's see. Oh yeah, he keeps telling the other guy, "Get Kendall to safety," and then he's fighting off the org and the putrids single-handedly. And he looks over at the door. He doesn't see them there, so then he morphs, not realizing that they are actually still in the room. They had went to the door, it's locked, so they try to go over to like I don't know, another door or a window or something, and they happen to see him morph. Whoa, that's a really cool moment too. Like it's not often we get to see like people discover the identity of one of the Rangers, especially in something like this. Like a few of the times, I'm trying to remember. A lot of the times when the Rangers' identities are found out, it's kind of dumb. Like the dumbest is probably back in space when Carlos morphs inside of a photo booth, and I guess the energy from him morphing powers up the photo booth, and it takes a picture of him morphing, and that little girl finds it and blackmails him with it. Oh, and also in Time Force when the guy like takes pictures of them unmorphed, and somehow that gives away that they're Rangers, even though they don't have secret identities. Whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to praise that this episode has like a really good reason and like method of exposing this Ranger's true identity. So anyway, Danny is fighting with the other with the orgs. The other Rangers join him, and then the org runs away. Then they go back up to the Animarium, and Danny is putting together this little bracelet for Kendall. And let's see, he goes to give it to her, and he finds out that she's in the hospital. So he goes to the hospital to see her. Oh yeah, she was hurt from the org attack earlier. Anyway, that guy from earlier, he has a name, but I don't remember what his name is. Blonde discount Matt Damon guy. He's there, and he tells Danny that he knows he's the Black Ranger, and then he also tells Danny that I don't think you should pursue Kendall, and I don't think you'd be able to give her enough attention. And Danny like thinks about this, and as an audience, it's pretty obvious what this guy is doing. He's trying to make excuses, trying to discourage Danny, but Danny, whether or not he sees that that's what this guy is doing, he also knows that, oh, he's kind of right. I'm a Power Ranger. I don't really have time for a relationship right now. So, anyway, Shayla calls him about the Org is attacking again. Danny gives the man the bracelet and asks him to give it to Kendall. And then we see what's going on inside the hospital. The man gives Kendall this fancy, expensive pearl necklace, and he's talking about, yep, it was really expensive, cost me a lot of money, but I've got a lot more money. Oh, and that guy Danny was here. He made you this, and he tosses the homemade bracelet on the bed, and he's like, huh, looks like he made it himself. And Kendall, like, she looks at the pearls, she looks at the bracelet, and you can tell that, like, yeah, the pearls are nice and all, but it's not a personal gift like the bracelet is. And so then, meanwhile, we see the Rangers are in battle, and Danny can't concentrate, and there's some good Sentai-esque suit acting with Danny, like, fighting off the orgs and then kind of getting half-hearted about it. Oh, I'm so depressed. And there's a part where he, like, gets down, like that in the suit, and it reminds me of, Juo the World and Juoger, kind of. So anyway, Kendall shows up. I can't remember. I think she's on crutches or something, and she gives Danny some encouragement. She shows him that she's wearing his bracelet, and this gives Danny the confidence to defeat the Org. And then the Rangers call Merrick and ask him to try and find the brides, even though they don't know where they are. Whatever. Anyway, let's see. The Rangers are battling the Org, or yeah, the revived Org. Toxico revives it as a giant, and Merrick goes into the church where the brides are being held, or well, transformed into mannequins, and he finds the room, and he's like, "This is the last one." How do you know it's this one specifically? Were you searching all the churches or something? Why was the monster keeping them imprisoned in the churches? Why didn't he take him to Master Org's lair or something? Whatever. Anyway, now the mannequins can make some noise. And Merrick hears them, and oh yeah, earlier in the battle, against the wedding dress Org, Danny wrestles away this, like, wand thing that it has, and I kept thinking, oh, okay, so he's gonna give the wand to Merrick, and Merrick is gonna use the wand to turn the mannequins back to people. But he doesn't. The wand never shows up again after Danny wrestles it away from the monster. So what Merrick does. Oh yeah, also interesting and kind of weird with this is the Rangers defeat the Org in the Megazord. So the monster, and then falls over, blows up, and usually in Power Rangers, when the giant monster falls over, blows up, anything that it did related to like its abilities, like magic abilities or whatever, reverts back to how it was before. But the mannequins don't. So I kept thinking Merrick would get in the room, just as the mannequins turn human again. But no, they're still mannequins, even though the org is destroyed. So and the wand isn't used. So Merrick takes his lunar Q thing and shoots them with it. That could have gone very wrong. Anyway, it turns them back to normal, happy ending, and or well, almost the ending. Danny goes back to Kendall, and she tells him that she thinks he should focus on his current mission as a Power Ranger and not her. Danny's disappointed, but he understands and agrees, and we see him walk off, and we see Kendall give him a look like, yeah, at some point, we're gonna get together, and it's a sweet ending. So it's a great focus for Danny. I really love it. Oh, and I also love that this episode gives Kendall more to do, because earlier she wasn't really that much of a character. She's interesting. I like the actress who plays her. She does a really good job. She's likable and interesting enough, and but we don't really get to see that much. Even here, we don't get to see that much of her. But she definitely feels more like a character, like with her decision on choosing like Danny over the rich snobby guy. Let's see. Oh yeah, Merrick is a weird addition for this episode. I don't really know why he needed to be here. In fact, I'm wondering if that was a change, like in the ending. Like, originally, I'm assuming that, like, maybe it was reshot or something, because Danny wrestles away the wand from the org, and then, like, I don't know, somehow they find where the brides are, and then he uses the wand to free the brides, and then they go and fight the revived giant org. But then somebody behind the scenes realized, oh hey, Merrick hasn't done anything for a while, why don't we have him do it? But then they didn't give him the wand, he just uses his Q. I don't know, it's just very weird, and also that he knows right where, or he doesn't know right where they are, he just gets really, really lucky. I don't know, I've never thought about that before when I've watched this episode, but now it's, yeah, it's very strange, and definitely, like, it doesn't really hurt the episode, but it's definitely the weaker element of this episode is Merrick's inclusion just kind of shoved in, and also his solution to freeing the brides is shoot them. Okay. Anyway, one of the interesting things I also noticed with this episode is there's a lot of similarities to another episode of Power Rangers in Power Rangers Samurai Here Come the Brides, which also featured a monster kidnapping brides from weddings. And let's see, the whole reason for that is because in Sentai, apparently this is a really common plot. It's been in a few other Sentai series where, like, the Rangers disguise themselves in, like, wedding tuxedos and dresses to fool a monster who's kidnapping brides or grooms or whatever for whatever reason. It's a weird thing. Also, interestingly, both Wild Force and Samurai had a lot of the same crew working behind the scenes, so I don't know, maybe this type of episode just appealed to them and they really liked it or something. Oh, and also the interesting thing, I read on Ranger Wiki, this episode wasn't actually adapted from Gao Ranger. The plot came from Lost Galaxy, where or from Ginga Man, which was adapted into Lost Galaxy, but Lost Galaxy didn't really keep this plot. Although there was something kind of similar to it. There wasn't a couple. Or let's see, I'm trying to remember now. There was an episode that revolved around a wedding. Let's see, Kai likes this one girl, and there's this other guy he thinks likes the girl, and at the end, the guy's in a car wreck, and she's like, "You gotta save him," and she's like, "The wedding is tomorrow," and Kai sees, like, there's a wedding dress or something in the car with the guy, and he's like, "Oh, she's getting married to this guy, well, greater good," and he goes, saves the guy, and uh, they're together, and he's like, enjoy your wedding. And then later on, he realizes that the guy was her brother, and it wasn't her marriage, it was relatives or a friend's marriage or something. And so he's like, oh, cool, I still have a chance with her, and happy ending there. I wonder if that was adapted from whatever episode they were talking about, because I think it was the Blue Ranger in Ginga Man. I can't remember, I haven't watched Ginga Man in a while. Oh, anyway, I thought that was. I always find that to be really interesting when there's an episode from another Sentai that is used as the basis for a Power Ranger episode in a completely different season. There's a lot of parallels between Lost Galaxy and Wild Force. Huh. I wonder if maybe that had anything to do with it, like if the creators saw the similarities that were happening between Lost Galaxy and Wild Force and they decided to go back and look at episodes that maybe they hadn't adapted or didn't have time to adapt or didn't didn't go through with for whatever reason. There was something else I was going to say, and now I don't remember what I was going to say. Anyway, good episode. I like this one. What's next? A Father's Footsteps. Which one is that? I don't remember which episode that is off the top of my head. Is that an Alyssa episode? I think it might be an Alyssa episode. Oh, well, anyway. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.